In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 NBA games happening on April 4th, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Sacramento Kings versus Charlotte Hornets. The Sacramento Kings, sitting at 36-40 and currently holding the 10th seed in the Western Conference, are heading into a matchup against the Charlotte Hornets, who are 19-57 and ranked 14th in the Eastern Conference. The game is scheduled for April 4th and will take place at the Spectrum Center. These two teams have already met once this season, back on February 24th, when the Kings blew the Hornets out in a lopsided 130-88 win at home. This upcoming contest will be their final head-to-head of the regular season. Sacramento is coming into this one trying to shake off a rough patch. They've dropped their last 3 games, with the most recent being a 116-111 road loss to the Washington Wizards on Wednesday. As for Charlotte, they're in a similar boat, also fresh off a road defeat, falling 119-105 to the Indiana Pacers that same night. So both teams are coming off losses, but the stakes feel a lot higher for the Kings. Injuries are still a factor too, as Sacramento continues to monitor Devin Carter, who's listed as questionable. Meanwhile, the Hornets have already ruled out LaMelo Ball again. This game feels pretty straightforward. The Kings simply have a lot more riding on the outcome. They need this win if they want to keep their grip on a play-in tournament spot. After falling short in a winnable game against the Wizards, there's no doubt they'll come into this one with a sense of urgency. The Hornets, on the other hand, have had a hard time finding any rhythm all season, especially on the offensive end. Their defense isn't terrible. They're somewhere in the middle of the league statistically, but their shooting has been awful, sitting dead last in field goal percentage. The Kings should be able to run their offense well and put up points against a team that looks ready to start the offseason. Look, I get the hesitation when it comes to trusting the Kings as heavy favorites. I'm right there with you. But if they can't get fired up after losing to Washington, then honestly, there's not much else to say. They're still fighting to stay in the mix with the Suns right on their heels in the play-in race. This one isn't optional, it's a must-win. And while Sacramento has had their ups and downs, they've actually been solid when expected to handle business, going 10-3 against the spread in their last 13 games as a double-digit favorite. They need this one, and there are no excuses. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Both teams have been solid on the offensive glass this season, which might lead to second chance points on both ends. The Kings come in ranked 17th with a 29.2% offensive rebounding rate, while the Hornets are surprisingly better in that area, sitting 7th with a 31.2% rate. However, the defensive numbers lately don't inspire much confidence from either squad. Over their last 5 games, Sacramento has allowed 115 points per game, while Charlotte has given up 108. These defensive lapses make the over a tempting option, especially since 5 of the last 10 matchups between these two teams have gone that way. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Utah Jazz versus Indiana Pacers. The Utah Jazz, sitting at 16 wins and 61 losses, dead last in the Western Conference, are headed to Indiana on Friday to take on the Pacers, who currently hold the 4th seed in the East with a record of 45-31. Utah is coming off a rough 143-105 loss to the Houston Rockets on Wednesday, which extended their losing streak to 7 games. They've already been knocked out of playoff contention, so they're just playing out the rest of the season. On the other side, Indiana took down the Charlotte Hornets 119-105 on Wednesday, marking their 8th win in the last 10 games. The Pacers have already locked up a spot in the postseason and are trying to hold on to, or possibly improve, their position in the Eastern standings. The Jazz are still dealing with several injuries, with key players like Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, and Jordan Clarkson all out of the lineup. The Pacers have some injury concerns too, with Pascal Siakam, Aaron Nesmith, and Benedict Mathurin all listed as questionable for Friday's game. That said, while Indiana might be missing a couple of contributors, the situation in Utah is much more dire. The Jazz have been running out a roster made up of mostly bench guys and younger players for quite a while now. Statistically, the Pacers are one of the more dangerous offensive teams in the league. They rank 7th in points per game, 3rd in overall shooting percentage, and 7th again in three-point shooting percentage. Utah, on the other hand, has one of the worst defenses in the NBA. They're ranked 29th in points allowed, 26th in opponent field goal percentage, and 11th in opponent three-point percentage. The injuries to Markkanen and Collins, their two leading scorers, have only made things worse. Indiana has more to play for in this matchup, since playoff seeding is still on the line. Utah, with nothing to gain and no postseason hopes, has only managed to cover the spread in 3 of its last 11 outings. Earlier in the season, the Jazz did cover the spread when these teams last met, but that was back when Markkanen and Collins were both active. The spread was always expected to be wide for this game, but even with that in mind, there's not enough reason to go against Indiana here. The Jazz are arguably the coldest team in the league right now. As our first pick for this matchup, the Indiana Pacers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. When it comes to pace, both of these teams like to push the tempo. The Jazz have a pace rating of 99.86, while the Pacers are right behind them with a 99.76 rating, which puts Indiana among the top 10 fastest teams in the league. That kind of speed usually leads to high-scoring games, and the numbers back it up. 4 of Indiana's last 5 games have gone over the posted total. Looking at their season as a whole, 19 of their 37 home games and 39 of their 76 overall matchups have hit the over. As for Utah, they've been shaky overall, but when they're on the road, they've been more likely to go over the total. Specifically, 22 of their 38 road games have gone over, and they've hit the over in 22 of 38 games as road underdogs. In their last 5 games, 3 have gone over the total. Looking at the recent history between these two squads, 4 of the last 6 games they've played against each other have also gone over. Utah has been giving up a ton of points lately. They're second to last in points allowed, and Indiana can put up points in bunches, even if they aren't exactly elite on defense themselves, ranking just 19th in that category. The Pacers have seen 4 of their last 5 games go over, and they've also gone over in 4 of their last 6 against Western Conference teams. In terms of efficiency, Indiana ranks 7th in offensive efficiency at 114.2, while Utah trails far behind at 25th with a 107.6 rating. Defensively, it's even more lopsided. The Jazz are last in the league with a defensive efficiency of 116.9, and Indiana is middle of the pack at 111.8. Given Indiana's fast pace and scoring ability, combined with Utah's poor defense and the fact that they've been playing with urgency despite being out of the playoff hunt, this one feels like it's set up to be another high-scoring affair. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Detroit Pistons versus Toronto Raptors. The Detroit Pistons are hitting the road and heading up north for a matchup at Scotiabank Arena where they'll face the Toronto Raptors. It's a bit of a grind for both squads. Detroit is coming off a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Toronto is playing on the second night of a back-to-back, which always adds a little wear and tear. In terms of injuries, things aren't looking ideal for Detroit. Tobias Harris is still sidelined, so he won't be suiting up for this one. Cade Cunningham, who's been nursing an injury, has been upgraded to questionable, so there's a slight chance he could play. On the other side, the Raptors continue to miss a couple of guys themselves. Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram are still out. When you take a closer look at the line for this game, it kind of makes you do a double take. The Pistons are pretty beat up right now, with key players either out or playing through injuries, and they've only managed to cover the spread in 3 of their last 10 games. Toronto, despite having no real shot at the postseason, keeps showing up and putting in effort night after night. They've actually been one of the more reliable teams against the spread this season, sitting at an impressive 46-30-1 against the spread. We've been leaning into the Raptors all season long, and more often than not, that bet has paid off. It's also worth pointing out that it's rare to see the Pistons in the position of heavy favorites. This game marks only the 9th time since 2019 that they've been favored by double digits, and that's with no Tobias Harris and Cade Cunningham still uncertain to play. As our first pick for this matchup, the Toronto Raptors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Offensively, Detroit hasn't had much going for them lately. They've put up just 103 and 104 points in their last 2 outings, and that's with a roster that might not include either of their main guys in Cunningham or Harris. Toronto did have trouble slowing down the Bulls' offense recently, but before that, they held 4 straight opponents to an average of just 99 points. Their defense has been trending in the right direction, too. They've gone from being in the bottom 10 defensively to sitting at 15th overall in the league. Even more impressive, they now rank 4th in opponent three-point three-point shooting percentage. With Detroit shorthanded and not much on the line, it's hard to imagine them bringing a ton of energy into this one. That's the kind of setup that leans toward a slow, low-scoring affair. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Phoenix Suns versus Boston Celtics. It's a cross-conference showdown between two teams heading in different directions as the regular season starts to wrap up. The action takes place on the hardwood in Boston, with the Phoenix Suns paying a visit to the Celtics on Friday night. Both teams are coming off losses and are hoping to turn things around before the postseason, but they're dealing with very different stakes and circumstances. Phoenix had a rough time in their last outing, getting outpaced by the Milwaukee Bucks in a 133-123 road loss on Tuesday. They couldn't quite keep up and ended up falling short of the spread, even as a 7-point underdog. Meanwhile, Boston didn't fare any better in their most recent game. They were handled pretty easily by Miami, suffering a 124-103 loss at home on Wednesday, and that was as a heavy 10.5-point favorite. When it comes to the history between these two, Boston's got the edge in the regular season with a 78-60 all-time record against the Suns. They've also taken the last 3 head-to-head meetings, including a convincing 132-102 victory on the road back on March 26th. Phoenix is still missing a big piece, with Kevin Durant ruled out once again, which definitely doesn't help their situation. Over on Boston's side, they're monitoring Jaylen Brown, who's dealing with some knee soreness and is questionable to suit up. Even though the Celtics should be motivated to bounce back after that loss to the Heat, they've had a tough time covering large spreads. They're just 4-12 against the spread in their last 16 games as double-digit favorites. Since early January, they've dropped 4 games outright when favored by that much. The Suns, on the other hand, are back in a slump and won't have Kevin Durant, but they're playing with more urgency. They're still scrapping for a spot in the play-in, while the Celtics have a fairly secure hold on the second seed in the Eastern Conference. Boston's had trouble covering big numbers all year, and this feels like another one of those spots. As our first pick for this matchup, the Boston Celtics to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Phoenix has been playing in some high-scoring games lately, going over the total in 4 straight and 6 of their last 7 contests. During that span, they've been putting up 115 points per game, which is just a bit above their season average. The problem is on defense. They've been giving up an average of 117.8 points over their last 10 games, including 3 outings where they allowed at least 132 points. The Suns don't push the pace too much, ranking 25th in tempo with 97.2 possessions per game, but they make those possessions count, sitting 7th in offensive efficiency. As for the Celtics, they've been consistent all season on offense. They average 117 points a night, and over their last 10 games heading into Thursday, they're still putting up 115.8 per game. They're not a team that flies up and down the court either. They rank 29th in pace at 96.1 possessions a game, but they're incredibly efficient, sitting 2nd overall in offensive efficiency. With Phoenix still figuring things out on defense and Bradley Beal working his way back to give them more firepower, this one's got the potential to turn into a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Oklahoma City Thunder versus Houston Rockets. On Friday night, the Oklahoma City Thunder are hitting the road, heading to the Toyota Center in Houston for a Western Conference clash with the Rockets. Oklahoma City Thunder is coming off a solid win against the Detroit Pistons, while Houston is fresh from dismantling the Utah Jazz in convincing fashion. Oklahoma City will once again be without Alex Dukas, Ousmane Dean, and Jalen Williams, as all 3 remain sidelined. On the other hand, the Rockets are expecting to have their full roster available and ready to go. The Thunder are still holding strong at the top of the NBA standings, with a nice cushion between them and the rest of the league. That hasn't made them complacent, though they just keep finding ways to win. Meanwhile, the Rockets are riding a wave of confidence right now. They've been playing some of their best basketball lately, and having a healthy squad certainly doesn't hurt. Even though Oklahoma City comes into this matchup as the clear favorite, having already taken 3 out of 4 against Houston this season, I think this one could end up being tighter than expected. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Rockets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Although the Rockets are usually thought of as more of a defensive team, they've been trending in the opposite direction lately. In their last 10 games, they've hit the over 7 times, with 2 pushes. One of their top defenders, Dylan Brooks, will be missing this one due to a suspension, possession. And that absence could crack the door open for Oklahoma City's offense. The Thunder have been scoring at a high clip all year, currently sitting 4th in the league in points per game and 6th in three-point percentage. They've got the firepower to take advantage of the matchup, and if recent trends continue, we could be in for a high-scoring affair on Friday night. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.